All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Late edition on the East Coast for those following the Not Move podcast to the Not Move College Game Day, brought to you by the Not Move podcast. My name is Otis. This is Jimmy by my side, giving you the news and tips for Week 10 of the NCAA schedule. We'd like to spend a little time with our sponsors as mybookie.ag. In the upper corner here, you can use my bookie AD QR code to get any of your bets in. We got BetUS. We got the MLB shop. Very exciting game just finished up. Dodgers won 3-1 to force a game 7. NFL shop. Get all your jerseys, T-shirts, tailgating needs at NFL shop. Walmart, and then also our Not Moved merch store. We'll give you all those QR codes coming up in a little bit. Jimmy, we got a big game to start the week with Penn State at Ohio State. Number one, Ohio State obviously giving 20.5. OSU coming into the game with one of the best defenses in the nation. Penn State just fired James Franklin, and they're looking to get things going in the right direction to possibly get into a bowl game. Sayan has been hitting on 80% of his passes this season, but I don't see the Nittany Lions being able to find their footing despite playing with a not anything to lose attitude.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. This Ohio State team is just different. I saw the line drop to 18.5. I would raise it back up to 21. Honestly, I think they thump them. You could say this is a Jim Knowles revenge spot, but I think Ryan Day wants to run it up on Jim Knowles personally. Bit of bad blood, you could say. You left me for those guys, and now look where you're at, type of deal. Penn State's coming off the bye. They say they have a new offense. We'll wait to see how that looks and works out for him, but I'm gonna have to be I'm gonna have to see it to believe it, and I think Ohio State rolls here.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I don't see the over hitting though. I think that's way too high. Ohio State's going to put up a lot of points. I don't know that the Penn State offense is going to be able to keep up or even be close with that 20.5 point spread. The next slate of games is in the 3:30 slot. The first game we have is number 5, Georgia, -7.5 at Florida. Obviously a rivalry game, and they're very unpredictable in the SEC. Bulldogs are 6-1, trying to cement a playoff spot, and the Gators are just looking to find a reason to keep playing, harder. This could be a trap game for Georgia, though.
Yeah, I lean more towards it to be a trap game. Honestly, they just come off firing Billy Napier. Maybe this offense sees some rejuvenation. The Georgia defense hasn't been like incredible. Like he hasn't allowed me yet this year so far. And like Florida's defense ain't nothing to snuff at. I don't think Florida will win this game, but I think they can definitely keep it within the number. Gunnar Stockton just refuses to lose. Like he has that dog mentality. But I just don't see Georgia running away with it, even though they like Kirby Smart's record against Florida is pretty good. Like it's I think he's only lost like twice to them recently in the like last 8 times they played, which is a pretty good margin of error, like not win record for me. But I'm going with the dogs win, but they don't cover. I'm going with the Gators on the line. I'm going Gators in the points.
Gators in the points. Jimmy takes Gators in the points. I'm going to take Georgia -7.5. Next one up, ACC versus what is California, Big 10 or Big 12?
No, they're in the ACC now.
Oh, they're in the ACC? Oh,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness. What a shift. Virginia -3.5 at California. The Wahoos have been impressive this season with a 7-1 record. The Bears are solid at 5-3 with JKS, the freshman quarterback, leading that offense. Can Virginia run game go really, really positively against this Cal defense? And can Cal get some explosive plays to get and possibly maintain a lead?
Yeah, that's the real question for you, man. Because these Cal receivers just drop passes left and right. Like Cal should have blown out North Carolina. They should have blown out their last 2 opponents, but their receivers just have like drop-itis or whatever. I don't know what's going on. Uh, in Cal's locker room. JKS is doing all he can, but I'm gonna stick with my Wahoos and hold my nose. I can't bet against them, but this is looks like a trap game traveling all the way across from coast to coast. We haven't been looking too great either, to be honest. I mean, we had a hold your nose game against Washington State and North Carolina back to back. We're not playing the normal football we need to be playing that like let us beat Louisville earlier on in the season, let us beat Florida State. We've been going to these overtime games, and I don't know how long the cardiac calves can last, man. Sooner or later, we're gonna have a heart attack. But hopefully, it's not this week. Hopefully, we can keep pushing.
Yeah, I think that this is it could be a trap game for the Wahoos. I really like the idea, though, of them establishing their identity, even though they're traveling across the country, as a maturation process for that program. So I like the Wahoos as well, minus the 3.5. So the next matchup we got is the team I love talking about the most this season, Texas Tech, and that offense, minus 7.5 at K-State. The Red Raiders have been phenomenal, as I said, all year long on offense. They've had 39 20-plus yard air completions, right? So 20 yards in the air, 39 of those plays. And they've only allowed rushing 20-plus gains of 2 the entire season. They are coming off a 42-0 win over Oklahoma State. I just don't see real challenge here with the Wildcats. They do have the tendency of playing behind, and unfortunately, I don't think Texas Tech is going to stop the gas pedal at any point.
See, man, we were down on this Kansas State team early on in the season, but they've kind of bounced back. If you've noticed, like they've bounced back. They're pretty solid. They might be one of the better 4-loss teams in the nation if you can be a good 4-loss team. This is one of them. They've been playing really good ball as of late. Um, and I just have way too many like favorites winning, so I have to pick it. Like I got to pick dogs in some spots, and this is one of the picks that I regretfully took as the dog as the points. Will I be surprised if it bites me? No, but would I be? But I just think this Kansas State team is really hot. Avery Johnson's actually playing really good. Their dad and their brother, like his dad and his brother, aren't fighting on the sidelines, which is positive. Uh,
That's after
they
that week 1 debacle.
Yeah. Uh, I just feel like I'm going with the hot hand. I know Texas Tech just whomped a sad and poor Oklahoma State team, but it's Oklahoma State, and I don't know if Morton's like completely healed from that injury. Personally, I know Hammond's out, so they're kind of like, and like Texas Tech is banged up all around the place. They're kind of like bubble wrapped. So I'm just hoping for a close game. Will I be surprised if this is wrong? No, but am I hoping it's going to be close? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Texas Tech is going to cover here. I don't have any hesitation about that. Before we move on to the next matchup, MyBookie AG, you can use that QR code in the upper corner here to be able to get all your betting needs, mybookie.ag. The 7 o'clock, 7:30 slate starts out with an SEC battle of 2 lost teams. Oklahoma, number 18 in the nation, at 14, Tennessee. Tennessee minus 3.5, which is the home number. So this means typically this is an even money type of deal. Aguilar and the Vols don't regret losing Nico. And Mateer is looking to come into his own here. This SEC battle has both teams with an outside chance to possibly remain within striking distance of the college football playoff.
Yeah, man, this is an eliminator game, man. The loser of this is gone. Your playoff hopes dashed. I don't see many 3-win or 3-loss teams making the playoff coming out of the SEC. So this is a playoff game, big stakes, and I'm rolling with the Vols here mainly because I get a similar read of how Ole Miss took care of them. Like I think this Oklahoma defense has been a tad bit overrated because we're playing like lesser powered offenses earlier on in the season. And I think Mateer's not fully healthy yet. And this Tennessee offense is just on on the same level, if not a little bit higher power than the Ole Miss offense. I know Tennessee's defense is putrid, but with that home Knoxville crowd, that might help give them a boost. And I'm rolling with the Vols on this one in a high scoring affair. Probably
Yeah,
take
I
the over too.
agree totally with the over, Jimmy. I also think that Oklahoma's defense um, is a little bit susceptible to those explosive plays that we talked about earlier. Last week, I told you they're going to rely on that run game to win that football game. And it did. It did. It really did. But at the end of the day, like you said, the loser is on the outside looking in permanently. And I really like the over in this game and the Vols -3.5.
And we lock in step. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so far we only have one disagreement. We'll probably look to change that on the next couple of games here, but we'll see what happens. All right, so MLB Shop is also one of our sponsors. You can use that QR code in the upper corner, MLB Shop, to get all of your MLB Shop needs, including championship T-shirts, jerseys, whatever it is you want. If your team's not in the championship, that's okay. You can still buy those jerseys at MLBshop.com. So the next matchup we have is number 23 USC -6.5 at Nebraska. USC, one of the top offenses in the nation, and the Cornhuskers are 6-2. It's possible that Nebraska could get blown out by the Trojans. It's also possible that Nebraska could keep within the number in this game of unpredictability. What do you think, Jen?
Listen, man, I've been fading Nebraska constantly. I don't see much good in this team. Although I am worried about their run game because USC's run defense is not the greatest, and the running back from Nebraska is pretty solid. He's a
You
solid
better
guy.
watch yourself. Will Compton will be coming after you.
Hey, we can box, man. I'll lose that. But here's how it's gonna go, man. I'm going with the Trojans just because I'm fading Nebraska. This Trojans offense is crazy high powered. Jaden Mayava is one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Makai Lemon, um, one of the best receivers in the country, has one of the best for a receiver in the entire nation right now. Should be and the Bolitnikov conversation. He's crazy good. I think this offense is just too much for that Nebraska defense. And will I be proven wrong here? Are they soft enough? USC always has this thing. Can they get road wins in the Big Ten? They folded a couple of times. They folded against Illinois. They haven't really like established like a winning culture on the road in the Big Ten thus far in their tenure. So this could be a really good, really big one for them if they can get it done. And I think they do. I'm just I'm not sold on Nebraska and the cosplayer, man. I'm not sold on Riola at all.
Yeah, I think Raiola is still got a little bit more to go here to prove to the NCAA football landscape that he has that it factor. I do like the USC offense. However, I will take the 6.5 points and Nebraska because, like you said, on the road, USC seems to struggle in the Big Ten. So I'm going to take that advantage and keep it. But I'm also kind of on the under as well because of that reason. All right. So the next matchup we got is Utah at home. They're -10.5 taking on Cincinnati. Cincinnati, typically a high-powered offense. We do know that there is some injury concern on that offense going into this game. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, like you said, Evan Pryor, the star running back in that three-headed monster that they got as a run game between Sorsby, Pryor, and Tyree Walker. Pryor is out, which is going to impact them a lot in the run game. But I feel like Tyree Walker still can get his, and Brendan Sorsby's not just an incredible quarterback throwing the ball, but he's also a really good dual threat as well. I think he should be in New York come Heisman time. I feel like his name should be in that hat. Um, Now, this 10.5 is kind of crazy to me. Dan Pierre is probable, but you never know. Like Kenny Dillingham ain't gonna let you know anything about what's going on
That's
behind
for
the
sure.
Utah camp. And so, but like we saw last week, that Utah backup ain't no slouch either. They ran it up on Colorado, but Cincinnati's defense is not Colorado. I feel like Cincinnati can keep it within. the 10.5. I'm taking Cincinnati. I'm running with the Bearcats. I don't know why the line is this big. I feel like a rat hopping in the trap, but you know, so be it. Vegas, either kill me or let me get the cheese, one or the other.
Jimmy, I think that Utah needs to stay within striking distance in order to keep in contention of the Big 12. However, Cincinnati has proven all year long pretty much that they are a capable offense. Averaging 38 points a game is no slouch. Utah's defense, solid when it comes to ranking at 32nd. However, they tackle at a rate of 93rd in the country. So I like the playmakers of Cincinnati to outplay that defense of Utah. I'll take Cincinnati and the points. Our next sponsor, NFL Shop. All your NFL needs, T-shirts, jerseys, hats. If you are a person who likes those little satchels in the front, what are they called, Jimmy?
I just always call him a man purse, man. I don't know.
Fanny pack.
Fanny pack. Yeah.
Right? So if you like those kind of things, NFL Shop is a place to go. Get all your team needs. I'm a huge San Francisco 49er fan. Jimmy, you are a Tennessee Titan fan. I imagine that your faith in Cam Ward is limited right now based on the team's output. Am I right?
No, Cam's not the problem. The team around him's the problem. But that's listen. Wait till the bye week. I'm gonna make a Titans video on the bye week coming in the Not Move podcast. We cannot lose the bye week. That's when it'll be.
All right. So you'll be undefeated in the bye week. That's clear. All right. Let's get back to our matchup for the game of the week. Game of the week is number 9 Vanderbilt Commodores at the number 20 Texas Longhorns. Texas is a favorite of 2.5, which pretty much means they're about money line even. Jimmy, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, this game, I really don't know, man. You give me Diego Pavi and points, I'm taking that all day. Personally, I've been doing this constantly for the past year and a half. Vandy's just been constantly getting disrespected. This Texas offense really hasn't done anything for me. I don't know if Arch is even playing. I don't know if that'll be better for them if Arch doesn't play. He got his bell rung. He's in concussion protocol. Is he even ready to play? That Coldwell kid threw a pretty good touchdown pass against Mississippi State, but this isn't Mississippi State. This is Vanderbilt. And that's a crazy thing to say, like this is Vanderbilt, but this new SEC landscape, man, they're one of the top dogs in the SEC. Vanderbilt's fighting for a spot, and they believe they should have a spot in this playoff. And I think they can go out there and shock the world and beat Texas. And I feel like it's kind of redundant saying shock the world because they just keep being in these positions. Like if you look at their schedule, they're going to keep being in the spot to win these big games. Like they beat LSU. They almost beat Alabama. If it wasn't for 2 turnovers in the red zone, they would have beat Bama. But this isn't what it should have. But I think this Vandy team is good. Their defense is good. Their tight end is really solid. Eli Stowers, a dog. Their line, they have a really good line. They got a very unique system they do where they switch up where the linemen play. It's very a versatile offense. And I am worried about the Texas defense. This Texas defense has been a solid unit all year. So my play is the Commodores and the under in a scrappy matchup.
Yeah, I think that when you talk about the Vanderbilt Commodores, this is, again, a new blood in the SEC. Despite having some upsets in previous years, I think that they are for real. I think there's a lot of people that are in there doubting Pavia. He 28 years old or 27 years old, something like that. But he's been effective. And I think that you have to add in that dual threat ability that really sets him apart from some of these other playmakers in the SEC. Arch Manning, as you said, possible, absolutely possible. He could be out. We don't know for sure. But what we do know is Vanderbilt's been playing some good football. And I don't think there is really any chance that they're going to let this game slip. They're very, very aware of the landscape of the SEC and how they play into that playoff picture. I just don't see Texas, surviving this game. All right. So our spreads of the week this week, the first one we got up is Pittsburgh minus 13.5 at Stanford. Why don't you fill me in some information here? Why are we taking Pittsburgh, Jimmy?
Listen, this Pittsburgh team has been on fire ever since they put in that freshman quarterback, bro. Like I had them last week and they put up like 40, 50. Like they do, this offense is on fire. And Stanford, you know, had the crazy win over FSU, and then they got uh kept it close with Miami for a little bit in the rain, then got dog smacked. But I think this Pittsburgh team is just different under this new freshman quarterback. And I feel like 13.5 isn't I think they'll go over that pretty easily. Stanford's defense isn't nothing crazy. Andrew Luck needs to go out there and play quarterback if they want a chance to keep it close in this game, in my opinion. But I like the Panthers in this spot.
Yeah, I too like the Panthers. I just don't find anything impressive at all to grasp onto about that Cardinal team. I think that there's just too much of Pittsburgh playing solid demonstration. The new quarterback, Heinzel, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Nothing to really like kind of run home and tell somebody about it. But at the same time, the group is playing pretty well. So I like that pick at Pittsburgh minus 13.5. All right, a team that we always try to give credit to, Kurt Signetti and the number 2 Indiana Hoosiers, minus 21.5 at the Maryland Terrapins. Terrapins were a team in the beginning of the year we thought, man, if they can make some plays here, they might have something going. Jimmy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, they just they like in the Washington game especially. I liked Maryland in that spot. They just let teams come back on them, and I just feel like this Indiana offense is so overpowered, man. Mendoza's been playing crazy, and then they got the backup in, which is his little brother. So teams go out there and they see Mendoza on the back, but they don't know the numbers change, so they don't know if it's which Mendoza it is. I'm pretty sure they're going to pull out some hijinks later on in the season. You watch out for that. But I'm telling you,
Oh, okay.
and this offense is crazy, but what people aren't talking about is the defense. Like Indiana's defense is nasty, man. They were able to contain Oregon, who's what we've seen as one of the most one of the fastest offenses. They run that West Coast system pretty well, and they were able to contain and dominate them. And I feel like this Indiana defense is the unsung hero of this Hoosier team. And I just don't think the Maryland offense can go out there and get it done against them. I like Malik Washington at Maryland. I just don't know if he's a freshman. He's still learning. I don't know if this is the game where he plays hero ball or not. I feel like Indiana runs it up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think 21.5 isn't enough with the amount of offense that can be generated by that Indiana offense. And then, again, that stopping power of that defense creating opportunities for the offense. It's just going to be too much at this point for the Maryland Terrapins to get anything going. All right, our next matchup is number 10 Miami, minus 10.5 at SMU. What are you thinking?
Yeah, this is the first time Miami's left the state of Florida, so I'm a bit worried about this one. But SMU really hasn't been nothing crazy. Like they were in the ACC championship last year, made the college football playoff last year, but this team is not the same team as last year. They really haven't done anything all year that's impressed me. This Miami defense is insane, absolutely phenomenal. It don't like as long as Carson Beck doesn't turn into Carson Beck like we saw against Louisville, like as long as he just takes control of the ball, I think they easily clear over this 10.5.
Yeah, I mean Jennings is a nice player at quarterback for the Mustangs. Brinson is one of his go-to receivers. I just feel like there's too much talent on the Miami side to even think that SMU would have a chance. So I'm going to turn SMU into SMH, right? Shaking my head. I don't think
Yeah,
they got it.
I think it's what that auto corrected to on the text over.
I know. I saw that and I was like, I think they're playing SMU, but I thought maybe there was some like NCAA FCS that wasn't listed that I've never heard of before. But I like the idea that they are shaking their head over in Miami.
Yeah.
Not today for Miami against SMU. All right. So before we move on to our dogs of the week, don't forget to use our Not Moved podcast merch store in the upper corner here. Get all your hoodies, T-shirts, and other fan gear of the Not Moved podcast. We appreciate everybody's support here. So our dogs of the week, first one is Wake Forest plus 9.5 at the Florida State Seminoles. Jimmy, this is an interesting matchup because 9.5 just happens to be a number that I think isn't good enough for Wake Forest. However, you think the other way, huh?
Yeah, this Wake Forest team, they've been what's the word, like crafty or uh, I don't know, what's it, gritty? I don't know. There's something there that I just can't think of. They've just been tenacious a little bit. They fight for your money, you know. Uh, they should, by all means, should be at the bottom of the ACC, but they are not, and that's because they're a well coached team, and I think they can keep it within the number just because I think FSU is on a torrential downfall. Like they went from beating Alabama to losing like what, four straight now
Yep,
after.
4 straight.
Well,
That is
yeah,
correct.
and
And they're
Castellanos
0 and
is
4. They're 0 and 4 in the conference as well.
and Castellanos is banged up. I know that for sure. He's hurt. Will
Yes.
he play? I'm not sure, but I heard Castellanos. I don't know if he can't open it. If he can't open it up with his legs, I don't know. Him just being like stood in a pocket with that Florida State offensive line who hasn't really done much to protect him up until this far. I feel like the 9.5 is just enough to what Wake Forest needs, and I feel like they can get it done.
Yeah, I just feel like there might be too much talent on the Florida State side, especially defensively. Like I thought that
Mhm.
defense played really well in most of their games. I think their offense let them down. Like you said, even though Castellanos, whether he's hurt or not, I don't feel like there was a definitive point where you said, oh, Castellanos is just going to take the game over at some point. I mean, he has 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, on the season with 1,600 yards, which isn't very impressive considering what they were walking into starting the season.
Mhm.
Obviously, we've seen the decline after the Alabama game. So the next matchup we have is Louisville at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech getting 10.5. The Hokies are at home. I always feel like the Hokies at home is a good play, especially if they're getting points. Jimmy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, as much as I don't like Virginia Tech, they're the rivals of UVA, Virginia Tech.
Right.
Uh, I I gotta respect this line, and like Louisville's offensive line isn't great, and this defensive line that Virginia Tech has is pretty solid. And I feel like with the backing of the home crowd, they can definitely keep it within this number. They might have a chance to win. I just feel like people are overhyping this Louisville team after they did what they did to Miami. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't feel like there's anything to be threatened by with Louisville running away from the game with the game. Excuse me. Um, Mississippi State plus 4.5 at Arkansas. This is an interesting matchup for both the Bulldogs and the Razorbacks. Not exactly the top of the heap when it comes to the
No.
SEC at all. And what are you thinking, Jimmy?
Listen, man, this Mississippi State team is just right there every single time. Every single time. They almost beat Florida. They almost beat Texas last week. They just keep getting like if you had Mississippi State last week plus 7.5 when it kicked off, you won. But if you got it earlier when it was 6.5, you lost. So I think this Mississippi State team is a pretty decent football team. I know they haven't won an SEC game in like 3 years, but this Arkansas team is not great. They have a really good offense. Taylor Green is a solid quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Bobby Petrino at the head coach spot. I don't know if he's won a game since he's taken over. I haven't been keeping up the best with Arkansas football. I still know that defense is putrid, and whether or not they win this game is up for debate. I'm gonna keep going back to the well. Like once you get this win for Mississippi, like once Mississippi State gets this, like they need a statement win for this team. They got it early on in the season with the Arizona State, the first ranked win, and God knows how long for them. And I feel like they're just missing the SEC win. And I feel like they can get it here on the road against the Arkansas team, who isn't really that great, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing that I really, really focus on here is the fact that this is Dak Prescott versus Jerry Jones. And I hope it ends in a tie, if I'm going to be honest here.
Yeah,
But
shit.
I do like Mississippi State. You're right. They are just on the outer edge of getting that SEC victory that they need in order to kind of be able to plant firmly in the ground something that they can grab a hold of moving forward through the rest of the season. Some other games to consider that you gave me, Arizona -3.5 at Colorado. What are your thoughts on that, Jimmy?
It's just pretty simple, basically. Utah beat the piss out of Colorado last week. And I like Dion said even in the interview that he's never been beat that bad before in his life. And this Arizona team's coming off a bye week, so I'm just going with a fresher team, you know. So that one's just a pretty that's a system
Okay.
play, if you will.
That's certainly not a not a definitive they're going to kick the crap out of them, but you get the underlying issues here. I'm just going to say this that the ESPN matchup predictor is 57.9% for Arizona. I don't feel like the number is going to matter. I feel like they're going to win by a touchdown.
Yeah.
But Colorado just seems to stick it in your face when you really don't expect it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a different animal when Colorado plays these teams that you think should beat them based on paper. But of course, Jimmy, we know they don't play the games on paper. All right, the last one you wanted to talk about was Wyoming at San Diego State. Aztecs are a 10.5-point favorite. Cowboys not looking good this year.
Nah. And this Aztecs team's coached really well. Sean Lewis, I like him as a coach. He's a pretty solid guy. He's got this team clicking. They have a chance to make it if they keep rolling out and winning. If the American cannibalizes itself, like this could be the group of 5 team that makes it with San Diego State. So I feel like this 10.5, like you said, the Cowboys are not playing good ball. I feel like 10.5 is a pretty it's not the most it's not the highest number, but it's not a hard number to get over. And I feel like through this coach Sean Lewis, who's done a great job with what he's got, I feel like they can get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Aztecs have no problem scoring more than enough points on this Wyoming defense. Then the last one, actually, the next is the actual last one that you sent me. Arizona State at Iowa State. Jimmy, I will tell you, I love Matt Campbell, so I'm going to take Iowa State minus the 7.5.
Yeah, I'm with you too. Sam Levitt's out there; he's not playing. So, I mean, I don't know how good Arizona State's backup quarterback is, but you never know with these Big 12 quarterbacks, man. Because the backup for Texas Tech balled out, backup for Utah balled out, but I don't know who this guy is, so I'm just betting on Rocco Beck. So,
Yeah, I totally agree. Rocco all the way. And of course, we get to the feature that I love the most, the games that nobody will watch, probably except the parents of these players. All right, so the first game, Navy Midshipmen at North Texas Mean Green. I'm going with the under here in the game, but I will tell you that Navy's undefeated and North Texas is 7-1. Mm-hmm. So this does mean something to both these teams, regardless of whether they're going to get in the playoff picture or not. It has nothing to do with that. The next one is Army plus 1.5 at Air Force. It's an even money line, but I want to take the Black Knights here. I just don't feel like Air Force is going to get the job done. And the Knights are a little bit more proven this season. The last one I have, Old Dominion Monarchs at the Ula Mo, or Louisiana Monroe. Warhawks. Monarchs are looking to get bowl eligible. Warhawks are looking to play the spoiler. I'm taking the over 55.5 here. Before we get out of here, just want to mention again our sponsors, mybookie.ag, BetUS, MLB Shop, NFL Shop, Walmart, and of course, you can get all of your Not Move podcast merch using this QR code in the upper corner. Jimmy, any parting thoughts, things you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I like you shouting out the troops, man. There's a that North Texas Navy game does have some implications. I like the plays there, Army Navy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Army
absolutely. I mean, listen, I love the Army Navy game,
or
regardless of
Army
what
Air
the
Force. Yeah.
records are, because it never
Mhm.
matters. I mean,
Yeah,
there's been years where Navy was, a one-loss team. Army had four losses and winds up beating them. So
yeah, yeah,
these academy and uh, other military, battles are really not about the records. They really aren't
yeah.
at any point.
I
So
also,
yeah, absolutely. Shout out to the troops, uh, and I hope everybody had a happy Halloween.
yeah, I
Hopefully,
also,
all of our picks are going to be some treats for you. What do you think,
yeah,
Chip?
yeah. I also got one more shout out. Shout out to your team, the team behind you right there on the big spread, minus 20.5 against Boston College. I think y'all clear that. That's another one for you.
Jimmy, this has been a historical hurdle team for our Irish over the years. We've had wins against Florida State, lose to Boston College, win against USC, lose to Boston College. So we'll talk about that game next week, hopefully with a victory for the Irish. But the minus 28.5 should be covered. I will say this, Jimmy. Last question for you.
Mhm.
You're going trick or treating. What are you looking for when you go to the door?
Uh, that Reese cup, man. That's
Reese
what
Cup.
yeah, that was my thing as a kid, bro. That's all I was grabbing. Reese cup or that they got this new like Hershey cookies and cream bar. That stuff's pretty good too.
That sounds good. I've never had that.
Yeah.
I might have to go get one. Don't tell my wife though. All right, Jimmy. See you next week. Thanks for all your picks. Guys, thanks for tuning into the Game Day Not Move podcast. Also, make sure you tune into Not Move Podcast NFL and all the team guys. We cover the Titans, we cover the 49ers, we cover the Chiefs, we cover the Pittsburgh Steelers, we cover the Eagles. There's so many guys on our roster. We hope that you enjoy our shows. Join us every week right here on TikTok and Kick and YouTube. Have a great weekend. See you all next week.
See.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.